In order to better tailor the information that I would like to give out during this 20-minute presentation, I would like to invite you to a not so strenuous exercise, and I will pose 3 questions. And if your answer is yes, please raise your hand and keep it up in the air until your answer changes. So my first question would be that have you ever applied for a topic under the European Research and Innovation Framework programs that are usually known as FP5, 6, 7, and the current version is called Horizon 2020. So have you ever applied for a topic for funding? Okay, thank you. Please bear with me. Keep up your hand, and I would like to ask you whether you have been selected for funding. Okay, not so many. And then have you participated or are you in a project currently utilizing the SME Instrument or the Fast Track to Innovation pilot? Okay, thank you so much for your response and that you collaborated with this little help for me that I know what experience you have gained so far in this field. So in the next slide, this is a busy one, but it serves 2 purposes. One of them is to show how rich Horizon 2020 is in terms of offering different instruments to research and innovation activities under Horizon 2020. I will not talk all of these initiatives, but I will concentrate on the left side, and I will address the instruments that are specifically targeted to SMEs, and this is, but also industry as a whole can also participate in these initiatives. Then I will have, I will have a few words about prizes, which is now combined into the so-called European Innovation Council pilot. I will have a couple of topics as an examples to present what we have published in our last 3-year work program of Horizon 2020 under the health theme. I'm pretty sure you have heard about the IMI initiative, which is the biggest public-private partnership in pharmaceuticals, research and development of pharmaceuticals, that has been running since 2008 and will, for the time being, the last day of this initiative is in 2024. And a couple of information about certain financial instruments also available for small, medium-sized enterprises. I know that you are pretty familiar with the definition that we use to see if the enterprise is falling under the SME category, so I will not go into the details, but I just wanted to mention that this is the same as EMA use. Okay. Now the first topic is the so-called European Innovation Council pilot. This covers the last 3 years of the 7-year framework program of Horizon 2020, which is an 80 billion euro framework program for research and innovation of the European Union. And in these last 3 years, successful initiatives that targeted SMEs, innovative SMEs and industry are now combined into one umbrella, which is called European Innovation Council pilot. It has a significant budget, 2.7 billion euros, and we hope to support more than 5,000 SMEs and innovators. It is really aimed at providing support to ideas that can really create new markets and will present new solutions, products, services to the community, which are really needed and brings high innovation to the public. This covers basically a broad range of innovation ecosystem. We have a program for early stage science and technology development. We are basically looking for visionary ideas of emerging technologies that can really make a change in the future. So the idea is in the early stages of development, and the program is called FET Open, or Future Emerging Technologies. Another instrument is called the Fast Track to Innovation. Here we invite a consortia of 3 or 5 partners from industry and also academia and other institutions, but the majority of the funding should go to industry players. And we really encourage cross-sectoral collaboration that can bring to market very innovative products. So the entry point is relatively late in the development stage. TRL6 is required at the start of the project. The next one is the SME Instrument, and it has 2 phases. But you do not need to apply for phase 1 in order to apply to the SME Instrument phase 2. You can handle these separately. SME Instrument is basically a support for small, medium size enterprises to develop a very strong business plan for their innovative idea. It's a lump sum funding of 50,000 euros, and it just helps develop your application to phase 2. But you don't need to go through this process. You can directly apply for the phase 2 of the SME Instrument, which provides funding anywhere between 0.5 and 2.5 million euros for also relatively mature innovative ideas. We would like to see, again, TRL6 level achieved at the time of application. And these projects will pursue developments that are really bring highly innovative products covering unmet needs in the health domain. But I also have to mention that actually for all of these instruments, now we have canceled the so-called topics, sectoral topics. So now we have, under this umbrella, gathered all these instruments where you can apply with any idea that meets the requirements that I have taught you about. So it's a fully bottom-up process, no specific topics. So it's up to you what you would like to propose, actually what fits your company strategy. And throughout all these instruments, we offer additional support to the beneficiaries of the SMEs, SME beneficiaries, in the form of coaching and mentoring. For the first couple of years, the SMEs who took advantage of these free of charge services were really very well, they received very well these supports, and they were very content with the additional help of these supports. And I will just briefly mention that under the European Innovation Council, we also published 6 so-called Horizon Prizes, and 2 of them have some relevance to the health domain. This is the early warning for epidemics and affordable high tech for humanitarian aids. But I will really not expand more on that. This is just an overview of the various aspects of the different instruments under European Innovation Council pilot, whom we invite to apply for these instruments, what's the maximum funding, the total budget for this 3-year period, and what the focus is for these. But I have basically touched upon these in the previous slide. So I'll move to the next one, which I hope is very familiar to you because this has been running for many decades. This is an old initiative of the European Union. It's called the Eurostars program. This is a joint effort of the European Union and the member states. So 1/4 of the funding comes from the European Commission, and then 75% is from the member states. The total budget for this 7-year period is 1.1, a little over 1.1 billion euros. And actually the funding is pretty much dependent on individual member states. And I also need to mention that the members are not only European Union member states, but there are other members joined to the Euroco group and the Eurostars group. So I think currently we have 38 member countries. And so the funding rate and the rules for funding is really different from member state to member state. So I cannot give you a general idea about that, but it is very popular among SMEs because this is dedicated to research performing small, medium-sized enterprises. We invite consortia, again, in a fully bottom-up fashion to apply for funding. And the SME, the research performing SME, needs to be the coordinator of these projects. At least the consortia should be consisting of at least 2 participants. And the 2 participants will need to be from 2 different member states. The project duration is approximately 3 years or less. And I have to explain what market introduction within 2 years means in the health domain. We mean by that when the project completes, within 2 years, the next clinical trial should start. So it's quite different from the usual meaning of market introduction. Then we have the so-called collaborative research. This is the biggest part of the unit where I'm coming from. The traditional requirement is that a consortium is formed by 3 independent entities from 3 different member states or so-called associated countries. We have quite some associated countries. And we publish specific topics against which we invite the proposals. And the usual budget for a project lies anywhere between 4 and 6 million euros, but we have much less and much more in the range of 1 to 55 million euros. And I would just like to highlight what are the priorities for our last 3-year work program of Horizon 2020 in the health collaborative projects, where we will allocate close to 2 billion euros. And in the next slides, I will just highlight a couple of examples of topics that might be of relevance for the audience, where we invite also SMEs to form consortia, and also the funding is available for developing or even earlier phases of pharmaceutical research. So personalized medicine is one of the priorities that we still keep on the list. Then developing the role of the environment for health and well-being. Infectious diseases, still high on the agenda. Innovative health and care industry. Innovative health and care systems. Integration of care in the focus. Then we have collaboration with our colleagues in DG Connect, and they are responsible for the last 2 priorities, the digital transformation in health and care, and the trusted big data solutions and cybersecurity for health and care. So now in the next couple of slides, just 8 examples of the topics, and if you are interested in any of those, time limit does not allow me to further elaborate on these, but on the participant portal you will get all the information you need. And also we have in every member state we have the so-called national contact point, where they can really give out practical information about applying to the various topics in your local language. Okay, so under personalized medicine priority, we're looking for project proposals for co- and multimorbidities to improve prevention, diagnosis, prognosis, therapy development, and management. Another one is combinatorial therapies for complex disorders, again tailored to the needs of the individuals. And I only highlight the closely or fastly approaching application deadlines. So on this third topic, the deadline is in April, and we are looking for proposals on the human microbiome, where we would like to see validated novel clinical tools that could be applied in everyday healthcare. Under infectious diseases, there is the stratified host-directed approaches to cure infectious diseases. We would like to see at the outcome of the project validated biomarkers. And again, a very close application deadline for this project, the neglected infectious diseases, treatments and vaccine candidates are thought for. The last priority area that I will give some examples out is the innovative health and care industry. We'd like to see proposals targeting regenerative medicine, but at this time the project should focus on larger patient groups, not niche areas. And the same thing applies for advanced therapies in general, again for large patient groups. Deadline is in April next year. And the last example is it's a unique action because the target audience is public procurers. So we invite public procurers to join forces and develop a procurement of research in the field of next generation sequencing, so that by the end of the project they really have a good choice to select from when they would like to implement this new technology in everyday healthcare. But it's important for the SME audience as well, so that they know that these procurement calls will be out most likely in 2020, because this is just a preparation for the public procurers. I have not much time left. So this is the Innovative Medicines Initiative. Altogether, there is this 5 billion euro budget. Half of the budget comes from the European Union, and the other half comes from big pharma in form of in-kind contribution. So the money from the European Union does not reach big industry. The funding can be only allocated to other partners like academia, small, medium-sized enterprises, even medium-sized companies can form a consortium. And on the next slide, this is one of the projects where you see typical size and composition of an IMI consortium. You see big industry partners on the top, and then you see all the academic partners in the middle. You have quite some SMEs supporting this project, taking part in this project, and then patient organizations are also in the focus when a consortium is formed for an IMI project. And on this slide, you will see some examples of the next calls that will be published soon. These are just preliminary information. These topics have not been approved yet, and the ones highlighted in red might be of relevance for SMEs. Okay, but we will not go into the details. Unfortunately, we don't have time. And then just the last two slides. This is a financial facility. Actually, a group of instruments on this slide, but I will only focus on the Inofin infectious diseases in the red bracket, which is targeted to small, not only small, medium-sized enterprises, but any size of a company. We are looking for projects of clinical that are entering the clinical phase in infectious disease area, highly innovative vaccines, drugs, medical diagnostic devices, or R&D infrastructures. And this is a loan scheme of between a range 7.5 to 75 million euros. There are no specific topics beyond the infectious disease area. There needs to be a high public health impact, and since this is a financial instrument, it's basically a loan, but there is a forgiveness opportunity if the project does not fly, if it fails, then European Commission public money kicks in, and then the company does not have to pay back the loan until that stage. But if it flies, if your project is successful, then obviously the loan has to be paid back. And on the last slide, I will not go into the details. These are all the relevant websites where plenty of information is available according to your interest, and I invite you to please visit these sites. And I would also like to tell you that on December 8th, we hold our usual info day. This is a whole day event. You can also join this event through the web. It will be streamed. And as you know, we dedicate a full day to all these topics. So in 20 minutes, it was quite a challenge just to give you some hints what we are funding in health. Thank you so much for your attention.